Oh, we have a leak right down there on the end. Hello Newcomb family, welcome back to the channel, Living the Newcomb Life. I'm Jerry. Before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, it really helps us out, and hit that notification bell so you're up to date on all of our upcoming videos. Today what we're going to go over is we're going to unbox and install our drip irrigation system. I'm going to kind of go over the different ways that you can water your garden. Of course, you can use a hand sprayer. You can use a watering wand. What we have done for years on our regular garden was we would use a lawn sprinkler. Instead of just watering where the roots are, you would water the entire plant, and that water would stay on those leaves. And one of the things that really got us last year for our squash and our zucchini and some of our cucumber plants too, we got white powdery mildew. One of the things to mitigate getting the white powdery mildew is to only water where the roots are. That way it helps with the airflow and it doesn't weigh the leaves down, and the water does not stay on those leaves. Getting the garden up and running, that's time consuming and all, but the hard part is keeping up with the weeds throughout the summer. Dawn and I have always realized that even though we think we're staying on top of those weeds, they just simply overpower us. If we go on vacation for a week and by the time that we come back, it's like we can't keep up with those weeds. So one of the things that we decided to do was, after watching Arms Family Homestead, Lumna Acres, and Living Traditions, specifically Living Traditions, that's where we got the idea of the flat garden, which is what we are using this year. And I gotta say, just the lack of weeds just with the garden fabric has been amazing. We have very little weeds, and when we do, they're so tiny, it takes like just 3 to 5 minutes each day, and we can pull every weed that we need to, not a problem. But one of the things that we're also going to do to help mitigate that weed growth is we are going to use a drip tape irrigation system. So there's really two types of irrigation systems that you can choose from. There's a tube irrigation system, and then there's the drip tape irrigation system. The tube irrigation system is just like what it sounds like. It's a tube that is running from a main line, and then there are tubes that come off of that main line down each of your garden rows, and then you can have a specific tube watering each one of your plants. We decided not to go with that, mainly because every other homesteading YouTube channel that we watch, they use the drip tape irrigation system and they just rave about how nice that it is. So that's what we decided to use. The difference between the tube irrigation and the drip tape irrigation is the drip tape is a flat tape and it has the emitters. In our case, the emitters on our drip tape is every 8 inches. You can get them every 6 inches and up to every 12 inches. I chose the 8-inch emitters, one because it was in the middle of the 6 and the 12, and because it came probably with the most basic kit that you can start out with. So I'm going to unbox that kit right now and show you everything that's in it. Okay guys, so I'm going to go over what our whole system is, and then we will show you how we're going to put it together. Okay guys, so I'm just going to go down the parts list and show you guys exactly what we have here. Some of the names are a little long, but it'll all make sense once everything goes together. So the first thing that we have is our 1/2 inch mainline tubing. That's what this is right here. And then we have the figure 8 end, that's this part right here. So once you're done cutting the length of your mainline tubing, it'll go through here, you fold it over, and it'll go back through there, and that's how you stop any water going through the main line. This is a 1/2 inch easy lock coupler. So basically, if you accidentally punch a hole in your 1/2 inch mainline tubing, you would cut it in half and you would fix it with this right here. This is a 1/2 inch female hose start. So basically what this does is this will tie into your garden hose right here, and it'll insert into your 1/2 inch mainline tubing, and that's how you get the water to your main line. This is your filter right here. So this is what is going to go directly, in our case it's going to go directly from the water spigot from our house. I've got a timer all set up and ready to go. I just have to screw this on to our timer and then tie in the garden hose here, and this is a release valve in case you need to let any water out for any reason. So here's your filter right here. You would just pull it out like that, clean it out whenever you need to, and put it all back together. You really want to use this no matter what kind of water that you're on. One, it comes with the kit, so you might as well use it. Two, if you have hard water, or if you're using well water, or anything that's going to have any kind of deposits in that water whatsoever, this filter is going to help filter that out, and it's going to keep any of those deposits from clogging up your emitters in your drip tape. So these are the drip tape barbs. So this is what you will actually cut into your main line with those right there. These will go inside of your main line, and then you will attach your drip tape onto this end here, put it in, tie it down like that, and that's how the water will go from your main line through this, through the tape, and to your plants. This is a drip tape coupler, so just in case if you punch a hole through your drip tape and you don't have any extra to just put a whole new line in, you can actually just cut it in half, splice it with this right here. And drip tape end, so you are going to have to shut off the end of your drip tape. And that's what this is right here. You just put the drip tape on the end right there and screw it down like that, so that no water will go through, so that pressure builds up and the water will come out of those emitters on your drip tape. This is probably the most important part of the system right here. This is a PSI regulator. So what that means is the water coming out of your house is at a much higher PSI than what the drip tape irrigation system calls for. So what this does is it'll drop it down to, in our case, to 10 PSI, and that's what you need to use on a low pressure system, which is what this is. So if you try to piece this together by yourself, just make sure that you do get this right here. And then this is the punch tool right here. This is what you're going to use to punch a hole into your main line tubing. You just punch a hole in it, take this, put this inside of the hole, and put your drip tape on. And then we have garden stakes that came with it to basically hold everything down in place. And it also comes with goof plugs. It's a perfect name for it, I think, but basically what it is if you happen to goof up and punch a hole in the wrong place, you can see that these are exactly the same size as these right here. So if you goof up, you just take one of these off and you put these in, and it'll close up that hole. And the last thing is the drip tape itself. You can see right here, it's 15 mil. This is 100 feet in length, definitely more than what we need. So supposedly you can use this for anywhere between 2 to 5 years. So we should have enough, hopefully, that we'll be able to use for quite a long time. Like I said before, the emitters on this specific drip tape is every 8 inches. You can get 6 inches and 12 inches. Again, I went with the 8 inches, one because it's in between of the 6 and the 12, and because that's how this kit came. I could have paid a little bit extra to get the 6 inch, but it really doesn't make that much of a difference. So we're at the point now to where we're going to start putting everything together, so stand by. Here I have set up, this is my watering timer right here. You can see I've got the filter on right here, my PSI regulator here, and it's going directly into my hose. I've got my hose running over towards the garden, and it's going to run directly into the main line. So we're getting ready to do that next. But I'm going to do a quick water check to see if I've got any leaks. I just have to hit this button right here and it'll cycle through. You'll hear it click on and run the water. There it goes. So the water's going through the system right now. I've got no leaks. Just so you know, I put some quick disconnects in on each side just in case if I needed to remove the filter or anything like that to clean it. But everything seems to be working great, so let's get the main line in. Okay, so I've got my 1/2 inch main line tubing here. I've got my garden hose running from the house straight over through my garden fence right here, and now I just have to cut my main line tubing to length. My main line tubing will be going this way, and then the drip tape will be going down each row that way. Okay, so I got my 1/2 inch mainline tubing cut to length. Now I just have to hook it up to the garden hose. Okay, so you have to make sure that the fitting is all the way back. Get your 1/2 inch mainline, push it on there real tight, as far as it'll go. And then you screw this on top of it, and that'll lock it in. Do a quick check, make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Now we just got to hook it up to our garden hose. So again, I have a quick disconnect here so that when I mow my grass I can just disconnect it here and pull my garden hose up and mow my grass. So that went on real nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the main line the whole way down the garden. Okay guys, now I have my 1/4 inch barbs. This is what is going to go into the main line tube. So I have to take my punch a hole in the main line tube, put these on, and then hook the drip tape up from here all the way down the rows. So that's what I'm going to do right now. All right, so I got my tool. I'm going to punch a hole and put these in. So I want to make sure that I'm lined up on my row. We have our cucumbers staggered on each side of our cattle panel, so we're going to run this right down the center, which is practically right on this green line here, just a little bit over. So that's kind of be my gauge there, and I'm going to punch a hole. Take the barb end, punch that in, and that one's done. On to the next one. So one of the things that was mentioned too is when you punch the hole in and you push that barb in, it's going to make the best seal that it can, but everything that we've watched, if you have like a real small leak there, it's not really that big of a deal. What you're going for is you're looking for the entire garden to get watered by the drip tape system. So over the period of time that it's watering, it's emitting more and more water, and it's watering all of your plants. So having a small leak here is not going to be any big deal. So it is what it is, and you just have to kind of make the best of it. But from what we've been told, it's no big deal. So the end here is going to be a little bit of a challenge for us because we're going to have our mainline tube go the whole way through here like this, and we're going to have a drip tape go along our grow bags. Kind of a unique setup. We may have to secure our mainline up on the fence or something. We're not really sure, but it's going to be a lot easier than hand watering each one of those grow bags. Okay, so now that I got each one of my barbs in, I just have to hook up the drip tape, cap the end of the drip tape, put some garden spikes in to hold everything down, and then we can do a final check. Okay, so here's the drip tape right here. I'm gonna unbox the drip tape, put it on our emitters. Okay, so when I unpackaged this, it was crimped, so I'm going to probably cut that just so it's a little bit of an easier fit. So I'm cutting it just below the first emitter here, so I'll have a little bit of spacing here. So after watching Living Traditions Homestead, one of the things that we learned was some of the biggest questions that they got was, do you run the emitters up or down? And they said the only way to run them is up, and it's simply because if you have a problem with it, it needs to be facing up so that if there is an issue, then you can fix it. The other question that they got quite a bit was, do you run the drip tape under the woven garden fabric? And they said it's personal preference if you can. They choose not to because it's kind of the same thought, is the only way to find out that something is wrong with it is if you can see it. And if it's under the garden fabric, you're really not going to be able to see it. And by the time you realize that there's something wrong, it's probably going to be a long time after and maybe a little too late. So we're going to do like they did. We're going to run ours on top of the garden fabric, specifically with the emitters up. So that's what we're going to do now. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge for us because we put the cucumber plants on each side of our garden panel. We're going to run this right down the center. So what I'm going to do is we're going to cut this to length first and then weave it in between all of the cucumber plants. So I'm going to ask Dawn if she'll hold the edge for me. Okay, so you want to make sure that the collar is the whole way back. Take your drip tape, open it up, put it inside so it's snug, make sure it's on as far as it can go.
You want to make sure it lays flat to the ground.
and then you're going to lock it in like that. And I'm just going to put a garden spike on each side here. Now I have to go to the other end and put an end cap on. Alright, so here's my end cap. You just want to make sure that the collar is back. It's basically the same thing as the emitter. Put it on so it's snug and seat it down. Give it a tug and there you go. And you can see we have an emitter right here, right next to our plant, which is perfect. So now we just have to do the other rows and then we'll figure out how it's going to work. Okay guys, so now that we got the figure 8 end all set up, the only thing that's left to do now is turn everything on and let's see how it works. So stand by. Okay, so I'm going to set my timer to get it going. I'm going to set it for 30 minutes. You'll hear it kick on. There it goes. No leaks here. You can hear the system pressurizing. Oh, we have a leak right down there on the end. No leaks. The system is pressurizing. No leaks here. You can see everything's filling up. And you can see the emitter how it's giving off water. Okay guys, so that is our drip tape irrigation system. It was pretty easy to install, really. The only really run-ins that we had was because we had never done it before, but after watching videos and everything, it was really not hard at all. So if you guys are thinking about doing one, I would highly recommend it. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out a lot. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're up to date on all of our upcoming videos. And just wanted to say thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe.